Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei was betrayed and killed by Naruto and becomes Dante's Inferno Part 2. Before we start, please go support Shadow the Player 528 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some wrong he or she calling here because it's translated, so let me clear this. Issei is a male in this story. Chapter 8. The Acheron River. We find ourselves in the previous part where Issei let the boatman Charon live, who was on board after being attacked by demons. And now we see him on the side of the deck as he watched the river Acheron while he was immersed in his thoughts, but his moment would be interrupted by a call from his friend Virgil. Virgil? Issei, what's wrong with you, boy? Issei. What happens is that all this, I mean, there's a part of me that believes that this is a dream, that nothing that's happening is real. First, with that Naruto Uzumaki thing when they removed something from my arm and then I died and faced death itself. Second, my memory loss and being in a rural town until I recovered it. Third, my death in Kuo and the suicide of my parents and the reason why they did it, and now look at me here in hell to save their souls. I feel like I'm losing my mind, Virgil. Virgil. I know it's hard to digest all this since your mind is full of confusion. Issei. You think so, Virgil? Virgil. Yes, by the way, you said that they removed something from your arm, do you remember what it was? Issei. Yes, it was a kind of red gauntlet with what appeared to be a gem on the top of the hand and fingers that looked like claws. Why? Virgil. Issei, were you a sacred gear user? Issei. Yes, I was. Virgil. Virgil. I see, but what do you mean you were? Issei. Hi, you'll see when I recover my memories. Mr. Kichiro, the old man who took care of me, revealed to me the experience of the supernatural world. Virgil. So you know about the existence of the supernatural world? Issei. That's right. Virgil. Little does this man know that he is still alive and he reveals himself to the natural world. Issei. He told me that he used to be a priest who killed demons in the name of God. Virgil. I see, but tell me, did he tell you about the Great War of the Three Factions? Issei. Not that I remember. Virgil. In that case, let me tell you that story, of course, if you are interested. Issei. It's fine with me, Virgil, I just want to be a little distracted while we sail down this river. Virgil. Very well, let's start then. Virgil said to begin to talk about the Great War of the three biblical factions, and that said death led to the death of God and Lucifer and the creation of the gears known as sacred gear. And Issei, after finishing listening to the story, says the following. Issei. So all these years all that existed, mythological beasts, gods, weapons, all that. Virgil. That's my friend. Issei. But you say that the sacred gear is what a human gets at birth and that it is also linked to the user's soul. Virgil. That's right, and you got the boosted gear. It's one of the 13 Longinus. It is said that its power can surpass the demon kings and God when it is completely mastered. It is where the Isseihyoudou Drake was sealed, also known as the Welsh dragon. One of the two celestial dragons. And the bearer of the boosted gear is generally called Isseihyoudou. Issei. Really, wow, I mean the only thing Mr. Kichiro told me was that the dragon's power would increase the power every 10 times per second, but with power like that, you would be someone feared by the world. I can't believe that something like that has happened to me. It's like I don't know how to describe it, the truth is. Virgil. You are surprised that you have been assigned one of the 13 Longinus, capable of even killing gods. Issei. If you think about it that way, But it would be interrupted by someone. Charon. Excuse me for interrupting you, but I couldn't help but hear your conversation, especially about you who used to be a user of a sacred gear and more of a Longinus type. Issei. Do you know about that sacred gear? Charon. I've heard that the power of that sacred gear is capable of doubling the power of its bearer every 10 seconds to be able to surpass the powers of the demon kings and God. Its second ability is to transfer its power to another person or objects, increasing its power, and like a dragon. The user can shoot what would be a roar in the form of lightning from his boosted gear called Draconian Shot or Dragon Shoot. Yasuhiro. Wow, little brother, who would have thought that your destiny would make you someone fearsome? Hiroko. Above all, you would be someone powerful. How would things be if the situation we are facing had occurred? Issei, hearing what his sister said, only responded in sadness. Issei. I don't know, sister, but what is certain is that they would still be alive. I don't care what crazy adventures could have happened as long as they are with me. Issei answered sadly, not caring what adventures would originally happen to him, because he only wanted his parents to stay alive and continue spending good times with them. Both Virgil and Hiroko and Yasuhiro felt some sadness when they saw the state of the chestnut tree, and like the ferryman Charon, when he saw the mood of our protagonist, he spoke. Charon. I can see you're worried about those closest to you, right? Issei. Charon. If I remember correctly, you said that you are here to save the souls of your parents and that they do not belong here, could you tell me? Issei. Some demons broke into my house just when the souls of my parents were about to leave. Where is my grandfather? Juzo, according to my brothers, he is with them. Issei replied to the ferryman Charon. Charon. And who are your brothers? Yasuhiro Hiroko. Refers to us. The two spirits responding to Charon. Charon. I can see that you are a determined boy willing to protect those you care about, even if you are able to achieve things no matter the risks, and I am seeing an example. Issei. What example? Charon. To come here in the same hell to save two souls that you say do not belong here. Virgil. Charon is right, young Issei, not many are willing to risk their lives for other people, but you decided to fight, but I want to ask you a question, how willing are you to save the souls of your parents? In response to Virgil's question, Issei firmly answers the following. Issei. If necessary, I will destroy the 9 circles of hell if necessary just to save my parents. Both Virgil and Charon, as well as Yasuhiro and Hiroko, heard our chestnut's response and saw how determined he was, and that neither anything nor anyone nor the demons that harbored hell would stop him. Yasuhiro. If so, how much with me, brother? Hiroko. We will do whatever it takes to save mom and dad from this place. Virgil just watched in silence like Charon. And while that was happening somewhere else, we can see the 3 demons who were still carrying the sphere having waxed the parents of Issei, Miki and Goru. Both adults were scared of the place they were in until one of the demons spoke. Hey, I heard that the boy who was in their house is here, but he is in the Acheron River with the boatman. The older chestnuts upon hearing that were worried as they implied that it was their son, and in that Issei's mother speaks. Miki. What do you mean he's here? What is my son doing here? 3. I don't know, and we don't care, so shut your mouth. Goru. Hey, have more respect for my wife, damn it. 3. You better shut up, you have no right to talk to me like that, since you are just a miserable specter that will be condemned. 1. Enough. 3. But he started it. 1. It doesn't matter, what happens to your son doesn't matter to us, since we weren't ordered what to do with him, but maybe the idiot just wants to come and accompany you, ha 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 ha. 1 2 3. Ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. The 3 demons began to laugh maliciously, thinking that Issei only came for them just to suffer with them, and this did not amuse the older brown-haired boys, since they thought that their son did not come down from hell just because of that. Miki. Goru. Issei, why are you here? It was the question that the chestnut trees asked themselves. With Issei, we can see our protagonist on the ship of the ferryman of Charon practicing with the scythe to prepare not only with the scythe, but also with the cross, as well as with magic, the path of righteousness. What seemed like a few minutes passed, Issei's practice was interrupted by Charon's voice. Charon. Young Issei, we will almost reach the first circle of hell. Issei stopped his practices with his weapons and magic and decides to rest to recover his energy when he has to battle, so he sits on the side of the deck and decides to wait for when they have to arrive. But it could be seen that the boatman was approaching Issei and he was speaking. Charon. Young Issei, may I ask you a question? Issei. Depen Barquero. Charon. This is the object you carry in your left arm. Issei. You're talking about this chain. Showing his arm where the chain is hooked. Issei. Before entering here, this chain was hooked, so to speak, on my arm, just like when they sewed this cross that I have on my chest. Why do you ask? Charon. I was just curious, but something tells me that this chain gives off great power. Issei. You believe Charon? Charon. That will be seen later in your journey here in hell. Look, we're almost there, get ready to go down. The boatman finished speaking only to see minutes later that Charon's gigantic ship stopped at what seemed to be a port to disembark and that the damned souls would begin to descend. Now we can see Issei on one side of the deck, and in that appears Virgil. Virgil. It's time to get off and continue on our way, Issei. Issei. Está bien, Virgilio. Issei said just to see that he was about to go down from the side of the deck to fall where the condemned were going down, but he is interrupted by someone. Charon. Hold on high. Charon's voice caught the chestnut's attention. Issei. Que sucede current? Charon. Before you go, let me help you. Issei. Do you want to help me, and how do you plan to help me? Charon. May I have your side? Issei. Para que? Charon. I won't do anything against you, I just ask you to trust me. Issei was wary of the ferryman, but he let himself be convinced to give the ferryman the side, but keeping his guard up just in case. The boatman, seeing that Issei allowed him to take his side, makes a light appear on the brown-haired weapon, and seeing that they turned into the following. 2 hand scythes with a design that to Issei's honesty looks incredible, but he left that aside just to say the following. Issei. What did I do? Charon. When I saw you watching, when you were practicing with the scythe with both the cross and your magic, and seeing that you could fight hand to hand, in short, I made your scythe change shape based on your fighting style, that you want to change to your fighting style that benefits you, even the blades can bend to fit the shape of your fists. You can also return it to its original form if you want, you just have to join the scythes again, and they will return to their original state, or if you prefer you can have double blades when you join them. Issei was surprised by what Karen did to his weapon, and seeing that he could now change form, he returned to the deck to do the following. First he sees that he had the hand scythes, and begins to do various techniques with his weapons, spinning as if they were attacking him, giving various attacks that occurred to him in his mind. Then see what he does, bend the blades of the scythes in his hand and start punching in the air and doing spinning kicks. And then see him turn the scythes in his hand back to their original state, and then see him join them together to form a double-edged staff. Then he does various somersaults and attacks from above and below, as he used to attack his enemies, only also from the other side. To then see that it changes back to its original state. He began his journey and then posed holding his scythe in his hand from behind his back. Issei. I think this improvement that you made, Karen, will be useful to me, and I will change my combat style, thanks. Karen. I'm glad to hear it, and I hope you can achieve your goal and rescue the souls of your parents. Issei. Thanks, Karand, well there is time to waste. Issei said to jump from the ship until he fell on land, and then Virgil appeared. Virgilio. Vi por is camino Issei. Issei. Bien. Issei began to cut where Virgil pointed and Charon just watched as Issei moved further and further away from the place. Charon. I hope your journey here in hell is successful, I wish you the best, mortal, that your determination does not. These were the thoughts of the boatman wishing the best for our chestnut tree. Chapter 9. Limbo. We can see our beloved chestnut walking through the places of the first circle of hell, together with his companion guide Virgilio. Issei. So this is limbo, huh? Virgil. That is right, there is no suffering here, because here those who, without committing sins, did not possess sufficient faith, are inhabited by virtuous pagans and unbaptized children, whose punishment is the denial of paradise. Issei could not believe that in the first circle of hell people suffered who, although they did not commit sin, suffered only because of the little faith they did not have in life. Issei. You know, when I was a child I had a friend, I think his last name is Shidu, the only thing I remember is that he had a belief, but I remember the truth a lot. Issei said, remembering his childhood friend. Flashback. We can observe a young and small Issei on as in a playground. Issei. Shidu. Issei called his friend as he was looking for him and found him in some bushes kneeling and holding his hands together. But it would be interrupted by the call of our chestnut tree. Issei. Shidu, there you are. Shidu. Oh, Sanhola. Issei. What were you doing? Shidu. I was praying. Issei. Praying. But why don't you do it in a temple? Shidu. You know that I belong to another religion, right? Issei. Ah yes, I forgot, well it doesn't matter, do you want to come play? Shidu. Yes, I do want to. Issei. Then let's go. And so the two little ones began to play all afternoon. Vindel flashback. At the end of the flashback Virgil asks. Virgil. Perhaps it has to do with the Catholic belief. Issei. No, CK contested Virgilio. Virgil. I understand. Issei. By the way, you mentioned that unbaptized children live here, what does that mean? Virgil. It means that they are children who have died without being cleansed by original sin, but the Archangel Gabriel, brother of the Archangel Michael, felt sorry for those children and asked his brother to let the children who were not baptized pass to heaven, but the angels could not rescue those who ended up here, because without the power of God, they could not let them pass. Issei. Let me guess, the children still here are children from long ago in human history, or am I wrong? Virgil. You are actually right, but when God died in the ancient holy war, the angels and archangels could not take the souls of the infants. Issei, upon hearing that the rest of the souls of the children who remained here, was saddened by what was said, but was glad that today those children who have died did not fall here. Issei. By the way, you said that the demon Lucifer ruled the 9 circles of hell, who rules these hells now? Virgil. Nobody, since the demons that live here are more powerful than the demons that live in the underworld. Few have royal demon blood because the holy war almost made them extinct, just like the angels and fallen of royal blood, and only a few remain. Let's not waste any more time, we have to get there is no time to waste, we have to hurry. Issei nodded at what Virgil said and began to advance faster, but along the way more and more enemies appeared in his path trying to stop him on his journey. Issei attacked them with his scythe, and from time to time he changed his fighting style, like just now, when he changed his double-edged scythe. Giving attacks where he could, and some enemies approached to attack but were surprisingly attacked by the other part of the scythe blade. even going so far as to use the holy gust to stun them and take advantage of the opportunity to attack. But the enemies kept coming, even Issei came to use his magic, the path of righteousness. But nothing could stop them. Issei. Damn it, why are there too many of them? Hiroko. Brother, let us help you. Issei. How? Yasuhiro. With this, you're done, sister. Hiroko. Ready, brother. The brothers turned around Issei, a light was becoming visible in the place, but the light dissipated and a changed Issei could be seen. Issei became a dark being like a specter thanks to the help of his brothers. Issei, seeing what he had become, was very surprised, but he would be attacked, but he would dodge the attack in time, and with his side that he had turned into a leaf again, he would attack his enemy. Cutting it and he would retreat from behind and this time give a very quick slash, and his enemies that were in front of him were eliminated with just the cut of the scythe blade. Issei had no time to think, he had to attack what he could from the domains that appeared. Issei decided to do the strongest attack he could. Javi decided to do the following. By making this attack, his enemies fell from the strong blow they could receive. And so it continued for a while until a point as Issei would detransform and his brothers appeared. Hiroko. We're sorry we can't help you more, little brother. Yasuhiro. There are too many of them. Issei. Well, I have no other choice, I have to run. Issei said as he started to run and the demons, seeing the action Issei took, did not stay behind either and began to chase him so they could eliminate him. Issei ran as fast as he could. Issei. Virgilio donde estas? Our chestnut tree shouted to its guide and then heard a voice. Virgilio. Por aquí Issei por aquí. Virgil shouted calling Issei who was in what looked like a tower. Virgil. Rapid when the water day comes to the fore. Issei continued running towards Virgil and when he saw that he was on the other side of what looked like a tower. Issei jumps without hesitation but sees that he does not reach far enough but extends his right arm causing the chain on his arm to extend and hook in Issei swings to be able to reach where Virgil is. While on the other side the enemies chasing Issei stopped and some others fell into the void. While with Issei he approaches where Virgil is and tells him. Issei. Virgil thanks for helping me. Virgil. You're welcome, young Issei. Issei. Where do we have to continue? Virgil. Continue walking on this path, further ahead you will find a door. Issei listens to what Virgil told him and continued walking where the corridor he was advancing was taking him to a door at the end of said corridor. Issei will open the door that would take him inside the tower and he would just continue moving forward through the corridors of the place and he would find a double door decorated with two demons crossing their arms. And Issei seeing these decorations says. Issei. Wow, what designs, I wonder who built that door. Yasuhiro. I would say maybe some Lucifer demon. Issei. It makes sense. Issei pushes the doors and the first thing he sees is that it is a room, but something caught his attention and he saw a baby sleeping in a crib in which it seemed to be a statue of a woman, but in the part of her belly hellish fire was burning. Issei. But what the hell is this? Hiroko. I know you said you'd see a lot of weird and crazy things while we were here in hell, little brother. Yasuhiro. And this well, I think it's another one of them, brother. Issei gives a heavy sigh and says. Issei. I know but 7, if he were one of those babies, would be baptized as Virgil mentioned. Yasuhiro. You're right, but why does he have blades instead of his arms? Issei. Let's wait and they don't attack us. But then both Issei and his brothers see that the baby wakes up and leaves his crib. Issei prepares for a possible attack. The baby walks towards Issei while extending his arms as he approaches. Issei prepares himself and sees the baby jump to attack him and the Danon jumped from behind so that the attack range of said infant Issei catches the baby with the blade of his scythe and then takes his cross and puts it in front of the baby. They then see the cross become illusion since Issei was absolving the sins of the infant to see the baby's soul go to heaven. But things would not end there as more babies would appear from the room without being baptized. So Issei, without a choice, would attack with his scythe several attacks at a time, launching holy bursts to stun the babies, and Issei would take that time to be able to absolve the sins of the infants he could. After a while of battling with the unbaptized babies and absolving their sins, Issei's brothers would appear. Hiroko. Wow bro, you were amazing. Yasuhiro. But why didn't you finish them off instead of absolving them? Issei. Because as Virgil said, these children died without being born and by not being baptized they would fall here and as he mentioned before, one of the angels, sons of God, asked that the children go to heaven regardless of their sins, that is why I did it. Yasuhiro. I see. Issei. Let's not waste any more time, we have to keep moving forward. The brothers felt and became floating spheres again to accompany their brother. Issei would continue advancing along the corridor that followed, but later he was able to dispel another condemned without being judged. Issei stopped to see said condemned or rather condemned woman, since her soul had the form of a woman, and Issei listened to what the condemned woman said. "Damned. I will take blood for blood, and you will be the first to die, father. I see your face day and night. My father's murderers live in this house, Orestes. Kill her as she killed our father." Issei, upon hearing what the damned woman said, wonders what he did to fall into limbo here, and then Virgil appears. "Virgil. I see you have found another condemned man without being judged." Issei. "Virgil, who is she?" Virgil. "Her name is Electra." Issei. "And what did she do to end up here?" Virgil. "He killed his own mother to avenge the unjustified death of his father. And now he is here suffering his punishment." Issei, upon hearing the reason why Electra was in limbo, so he takes his cross, extending it in front of Electra, and a light is seen through the cross, implying that Issei was absolving his sins, and then seeing Electra rise to then say, "Electra. The divine light of justice." Virgil. "Why did you absolve his sins, Issei?" Issei. "Why, the death of her father, who was killed at the hands of his wife, was what led her to that path of revenge, and she loved her father like a father loved his daughter, so that's why she forgave her." Virgil. "I see." Issei. "Virgil, since you're here, tell me how long until we get out of limbo." Virgil. "Keep going along the path you are on, you will reach where King Minos is." Issei. "The King Minos?" Virgil. "Yes, King Minos is one of the 3 judges who previously judged the condemned in the underworld ruled by the Greek god Hades." Issei. "There are more places to punish the lamas of those who have sinned in life." Virgil. "That's right, I don't know if I mentioned it to you before." Issei. "We can talk about that later." Virgilio. "True, you're right, we'll talk about that later, you have to keep moving forward." Virgil will disappear from the place, leaving Issei and his brothers alone. And Issei would take his way down the hall again. Issei would continue on his way, but minions of hell would appear to stop his advance, and Issei would begin to fight with them. After a while of fighting, Issei would continue on his way to then see a door with the same decoration as the demon. He would open it to see what he was in a room with some statues. The most striking one was one in front of someone sitting as if he were a king sitting on his throne. Issei would continue walking until he heard a voice. "Lust, fraud, heresy. Yasuhiro. What was that?" Issei. "I don't know, but it's probably King Minos." Hiroko. "The judge who said Virgil." Issei. "Yes, he must be playing the damned of this place, let's keep moving forward." And Issei would advance along the path that would lead him to where he would meet King Minos, and so it was only to see King Minos himself judging the damned while shouting their sins. Issei would see a lever in front of him, so without wasting time he would go to activate it and then see a kind of mechanism that would open as if it were a claw. Issei understood what he had to do. So he would run, and with the help of his chain on his right arm, he would hook himself up and propel himself to be able to reach the other side. And so he did, arriving at the other side, and upon doing so he would walk alone to see how the judge would take a condemned man and bring him close to his face just to smell him. And say, "Minos. Suicide." Then take it and hook it into a kind of gear with sharp points. To then see what activates it so that the gear turns and the condemned man would be heard falling screaming while Issei approached Minos, and he, not having eyes, did not know who was approaching, but he could hear it, but when he smelled it he asked, "Minos. Who enters my house of pain?" Issei. "Someone who seeks to free 2 souls that do not belong to be here, tell me where to find them." Minos would approach where he heard Issei's voice, and the aforementioned would not flinch from fear, and Minos would smell Issei and say, "Minos. I can smell a lustful person." He will also go, but at the same time someone with a good heart, "Why are you here?" Issei would answer. Issei. "There are 2 souls very important to me, and they do not deserve to be here." Minos. 2 souls. So that's what it's all about, stupid mortal, even if you try to reach them, you will never be able to save them. Ha 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 ha. Minos would start laughing, but that laughter was what Issei's anger was igniting. Issei, keeping calm, would say, "Issei. With your permission or without the pass I will leave and continue on my way." Minos, hearing how the brown-haired boy insulted him, shouts, "Minos. How dare you speak like that to the judge of the dead?" Thus starting a fight. Issei would see Minos fall to the ground, leaving his long tongue exposed. He would take it without thinking, and with all his strength he would begin to pull it, and Minos, seeing that, would punch the ground, but Issei would dodge the attack by jumping. Issei would continue pulling Minos's tongue to the spiked gear, but in that Minos would attack again, but Issei would again dodge the attack and hook Minos's tongue on one of the spikes of the gear, and Issei would activate the mechanism before Minos attacked him again. But seeing that the mechanism will be activated would get stuck because the leg where it was pierced of Minos prevented full activation, then Issei would raise what seemed to be the activator of said mechanism. And in doing so the gear would turn, cutting Minos's face in half and thus making him fall dead into the void. Issei had eliminated the judge of hell, and then Virgil appears. Virgil. First death and now Judge Minos, you are really hard to kill, huh? Issei. There's no time for jokes, Virgil, I must hurry if I want to rescue my parents' souls. Virgil. Then continue along that path. Virgil said, pointing where a ledge would be seen that mimes covered by its eyes. Virgil. Continue down that path where the next circle of hell awaits us, lust. Issei would just start running to the next circle of hell. Can Issei overcome the next circle of hell? Can he not try to fall into lust? Chapter 10. Lust. Storm was the only thing that could be seen as well as some thunder and lightning, and they wondered why. Simple. Issei'hyou'dou was in the second circle of hell, lust. At that Issei screams. Issei. Virgil, is this the second circle of hell? Virgil makes an appearance. Virgil. You are correct, Issei, because you are welcome to the second circle of hell, lust. Here the condemned cardinals are sentenced, those who let themselves be carried away by their lust. Here the storms roar while passion inflames. Virgil spoke while Issei only listened to him, the brown-haired boy who only received the strong drops of rain generated by the storm just like Virgil. Issei could see some of the damned flying through the storm. He didn't waste any more time and set out to continue on his way. Until in the distance you could see a kind of tower emerging deep in the circle where it rose until you could completely see said tower. At that Issei asks Virgil. Issei. Virgil, do you know what that tower is? Issei shouted because of the strong storm that was generated by the circle, and Virgil responded. Virgil. That is the carnal tower, where the condemned are being punished. And that one of Issei's brothers appears. Yasuhiro. Does that mean we have to go there? Virgil. This is Yasuhiro. Issei. I see, then there is no time to waste. So Issei continued his way straight to the carnal tower, but not before his path was interrupted by infernal minions. Just like the flying pests, Issei without wasting time takes his side and would attack his enemies. Some of them receive damage, but Issei will continue attacking and will do the next attack. This attack would finish off some of the infernal lackeys, but the pests would not stay without doing anything, as they would launch fireballs on their hook stingers, but Issei would deflect them by returning the attack. This was the case for a few seconds, and when he saw that there was no one to interrupt him, he would move forward. While in the tower you could see the three subjects who still had the brown-haired adults imprisoned in the sphere, and then one of them looks out of what seemed to be a balcony, and what was not expected to be seen was Issei advancing. Hey, isn't that the boy? One of them spoke while another one approached. 3. What are you saying? That guy who approached would also see how our chestnut tree advanced along the path. 3. Yes, it's him. 1. What are you talking about? One of them spoke seriously as he approached as well, and said the following as he saw Issei approaching the tower where the three assailants who attacked the Haidu's house were located. 1. That boy will be a nuisance if he continues to chase us. 3. One of us could kill him if Dexter intervenes, right? One of the fathers-in-law spoke, revealing the name of one of his companions. Dexter. Taryn is right, he won't be able to beat any of us, we could sweep the floor with him. I speak with arrogance and at the same time with grace, now the aforementioned also revealing the name of his other partner. Dexter. What do you say, Nathan? The aforementioned Dexter spoke to his companion. Nathan. Only if he continues to be nosy, one of us will take care of him. The now mentioned Nathan spoke revealing his appearance to us. Boru. What are you doing to my son? Nathan. Nothing that matters to you, old man, let's keep moving forward since we have to finish the mission. Thus following the three now revealed who were the assailants of the Haidu case. Now we can see our protagonist almost reaching what seemed to be an entrance to the carnal tower. And when he entered he did not expect what he would see first. Naked human women without any hint of shame, some hugged each other to feel each other's touch, others satisfied themselves. And when you see Issei, one of them speaks. Temptress 1. A new visitor has arrived, sisters. One of them tried to approach Issei with the intention of seducing him, but he moved away and she spoke. Temptress 2. Come, don't be shy. Issei. I'm not here to waste time with prostitutes, so get out of my way. The brown-haired man spoke surprisingly, even though those women were not wearing clothes that covered their bodies, he did not let himself be carried away by his perversion. Temptress 3. Oh, don't you want to have fun with us? That temptress spoke, but in that. She would instantly receive an attack from the brown-haired boy using his scythe, cutting her in half from her waist, thus falling dead. While the brown-haired boy's gaze was overshadowed. The other temptresses, seeing the attack that Issei provoked, did not hesitate and decided to reveal their true form. And they would all start attacking. Issei would not be left behind either and would also begin to attack some of them. What seemed to be a tentacle came out of his intimate area. Said tentacle had a tip like a stinger. Their nails were as long as claws and they were agile, allowing them to easily dodge the brown-haired boy's attacks. And seeing this, he decides to use the cross to launch several holy blasts. The gusts took effect as they saw that some of them were stunned but also received damage due to the holy power. And not only would they attack Issei, but also the infernal minions and he would be surrounded and all of them would jump to attack the brown-haired boy, but then Issei makes the following move. Damaging the minions and the temptresses and so he continued for a while attacking the demons until he finally finished them off. Issei. Finally, I thought this would never end. Yasuhiro. Well, we should continue. Hiroko. Yes, but where? I don't see where we can explore what's in this room to see what we find. The brown-haired boy spoke, exploring the room while his brothers turned into spheres following him. And Issei would be standing in front of what could be seen the sculpture of a snake's head. Issei. Vala sculptura. Issei spoke and would continue exploring the room where he was, and then he saw a rotating crank mechanism, and he already knew what to do. Issei would turn the crank activating the mechanism connected to it and only to see that it was the sculpture of the snake head raising its mouth, but in that the mechanism would stop seeming that something was obstructing it and Issei would release the mechanism. Making the snake close its mouth, but Issei would notice something, and that was the snake's fangs seemed somewhat fragile, as if with a little force it would be destroyed. So this would return to the crank to activate the mechanism and would see again that the snake would open its mouth returning to the point of obstruction and this would roll up to the fangs of the snake and give quick attacks to break the fangs achieving its objective and this would quickly return to the crank and this would see that nothing would obstruct the mechanism of the snake's mouth and it would be fully activated. And Issei, seeing that the mechanism is fully active, heads towards the snake's mouth but not before seeing that said fully open mouth would have a certain shape, well, you already know. Issei. Sigh seriously this place always has to be seen that here there are forms of male and female genitals. Hiroko. What do you mean brother? Issei. It's better not to know since I don't want to be distracted and I also want to leave this place to go to the next circle as soon as possible. Hiroko. It's okay. Issei would use the snake's tongue to climb up and jump to go up to the other floor. And then he sees that the platform where one of those who kidnapped Issei's parents was seen would be Terran. Issei. Oya spera. But you would see that the platform would rise by a strong wind raising said platform, while you would hear moans of pleasure and gasps of women. And while the platform was going up another one would pass by, but it would not go up, which seemed strange to the chestnut tree, and it would go down, because before it went up, it saw that something closed above preventing the platform from going up, and it would go down suddenly, because the air inlet that raised it also closed. Issei. Great, now what? Yasuhiro. We have to find a way to raise that platform. Hiroko. Yes, but as a way of doing it, the air that was expelled by that platform will rise. Issei. By the way, how to open that entrance above since it was closed? The brothers talked about finding a way to continue their path and in the place where Issei was still standing, he saw two paths descending. And first he goes to the right and he sees that there is nothing so he goes up and goes to the left, but this time he would see a lever. Yasuhiro. Look, little brother, a lever. Hiroko. Maybe the mechanism that activates everything or something. Issei. Activate it to see what happens. And in that Issei activates her and in that you begin to hear the moans and gasps of pleasure. Issei. It seems that I activated what was driving the platform. And Issei would go up again, but he would see that the platform did not rise completely. Issei. It seems that we did not activate the mechanism completely, something is missing. Yasuhiro. Like another lever. Issei. Yes, but where? Hiroko. Up there on the right. The girl pointed and the two brothers would see where their sister was pointing. And so they could see another lever and in that Issei speaks. Issei. I see thanks Hiroko, but how do we get there? Yasuhiro. That's something else. Issei. I'll deactivate the lever below and let's find a way to get up there. And Issei would go back down the lever and deactivate it making the air, moans and gasps not be heard and going back up. And this one would jump onto the platform. Issei. Well let's find a way to get up there. But Issei would see that there is nothing. Issei would give a sigh of resignation at not being able to see something. Issei. There's nothing I can use to get to that lever over there. Hiroko. Hey little brother, what about that strange sculpture over there in front of you? Yasuhiro. Do you think it can be put on? Issei. Well if in case it could move I doubt I could move it, I'm not strong enough to move it. Hiroko. What if the cross helps you? Issei. What do you mean? Yasuhiro. Don't you remember what you asked of the cross when we came down? Hiroko. You asked me to give you the power and strength necessary to be able to go through all the circles of hell. Issei was thoughtful about his brother's words. Issei. Well I'll try. And so Issei would approach the sculpture, he would grab it and start pulling it back, and it would be seen that he was moving it, leaving the brothers surprised, and their Issei would stop pulling, leaving the strange sculpture in the center of the platform. Issei. Well, I guess I'll leave it here. Hiroko. Why, are you tired? Issei. No, it's not that, I have a plan. Yasuhiro. Really? Issei. That's right, you will see that I will activate the lever below, raising this platform, and when that happens the sculpture will prevent it from rising completely, since it looks strong enough to withstand the pressure that is applied, and when that happens, the platform will have the appropriate height to reach the lever. Hiroko. Yasuhiro. If you say so. Both brothers said. And in that Issei would begin to execute his plan, going to the lever below, thus raising the platform, and in effect, it would be seen that the sculpture would raise pressure and would also resist, and Issei would do a double jump, something that surprised him a little, so he thought that it was also thanks to the cross. And he would see that his plan worked, so he would go to the lever he saw, so he would jump to get to the lever. Yasuhiro. Wow, it worked. Hiroko. I didn't think that sculpture would hold up. Issei. You really doubted me. Hiroko, a little nervous, would continue to speak. Hiroko. Boob, you know I wasn't sure, honestly. Issei. It doesn't matter, what matters is that we are here, so get ready. Yasuhiro. Parquet. Issei. The moment I activate the lever, that entrance will open, which is blocked by the sculpture, and when that happens, the platform will rise completely, so be prepared. Hiroko. Yasuhiro. Bien. Thus the brothers would become floating spheres again, and Issei would prepare himself, so he would approach the lever and activate it, and by doing so the entrance above would open, and he would run and jump just in time, and thus leave the room and go up the tower. Issei. Uff, I did it. Virgil. Well done, Issei. Issei. Virgilio. Virgil. From what I see, you are very smart. Issei. What can I say, I usually try to fix things for myself. Virgil. I can't deny that. Issei. And tell me what awaits me at the top. Virgil. To the ruler of this circle, Cleopatra. Issei. Cleopatra, the ancient queen guinea fowl of Egypt. Virgil. You've heard of her. Issei. Well, at the school where I studied they showed us a documentary about her. Virgil. I see. Issei. How did she end up being the ruler of the circle of lust? Virgil. When she died, her sin drew her here, but she did not come alone, but also her lover Marco Antonio, since their actions in life brought them both to this misfortune. Issei. Yavio. But the conversation would be interrupted as demons began to make an appearance. Issei. Virgilio, go. And Virgil would disappear, and so Issei would begin to attack while the platform rose to the top. Issei will face temptresses, inferno minions and guardian demons. Thus continuing to attack with his scythe and attacking. And later he would meet the ruler of the circle of lust. And so Issei would reach the total summit, and he would continue along the path that he would see, being stairs, it would take him one more to the summit, thus reaching this. And Issei would meet the one who saw Terran when he went up the platform. Issei. You are one of them, aren't you? Terran. I see you still recognize us. Issei. How could I forget the faces of the kidnappers of my parents' souls, where are they, my parents, as your companions? Terran. What do you want to know for? Do you want to fight with us? Issei. If that is necessary, I will not hesitate to do it. Terran. You think you can fight us? Ha 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 ha, just look at yourself, you're weak, you couldn't even beat me. Issei. We'll see about that. So Issei having his scythe in his hands ready to fight. Terran. Ooh, oh, unfortunately I won't be able to face you since you'll have to go through them. Issei. K. And in that Issei sees that in front of him is Cleopatra in the abyss, while Terran would flee from the place. Cleopatra. I heard that you were bringing problems, but I see that it is true. Issei. If what you want is revenge, come and fight. Cleopatra. Even though you have killed Minos, don't be so arrogant, boy. Issei. Will you keep talking or what? Cleopatra. You are so impressive, but if what you want is to die, then I will gladly give you what you want. And then Cleopatra would open her mouth. And a warrior would come out and he would speak. My lady, I'll take care of this. Cleopatra. As you wish, Marco Antonio. Antonio. I will finish you off, boy. Issei. We'll see about that. The fight was difficult, but Issei emerged victorious, and Mark Antony falls to the ground, accepting both defeat and his end. And then Cleopatra would appear and go with him. Cleopatra. No, Antony. Antonio. You said we would be together for all eternity. Thus saying his last words, implying that he died, and Cleopatra looked devastated by the loss of her love, and this time forever. Cleopatra. Antony, this wasn't supposed to end like this, you know. This mattered little to Issei since he only had a serious and indifferent look, but he did not expect the following. Cleopatra would approach him in a sensual and flirtatious manner, but the brown-haired boy would not be fazed by the queen's action. But what Cleopatra would not expect was to receive a strong left punch from the brown-haired boy, making her retreat, but the thing would not end, so the brown-haired boy would advance and give her another punch, but from the right side, then he would take his side and this. Slash. Cutting the queen of lust in half and dying instantly. Yasuhiro. That was intense, bro. Hiroko. Little brother, are you okay? Issei. Yes, I'm fine, it's just that it made me angry. Hiroko. I see. Issei. But I feel strange, honestly. Issei would raise his hand and look at it, and he would see that some rays combined with some air. Issei. What was that? The brown-haired boy thought, but something was shaking, and he would see that the platform where he was began to descend, missing the brothers, but things would not end there because our protagonist would see that demons would appear, and he already knew what to do. So a fight would begin while Issei would attack. He sees that many demons would approach him. Issei. What do I do? What do I do? What if there's only one way to find out? And so Issei would put his hand out, and then this would happen. The large ball of compressed air along with some electricity in it would bring the demons that were around the chestnut tree closer, and finally it would explode, throwing all the demons that were in it. Issei would be surprised, but there was no time to be surprised, so he continued attacking, but in that. The large rock would fall and destroy a part of the platform. Issei would be alert in case it were to happen again. After a while of fighting and dodging the large rocks that destroyed the platform, and when the last one fell, it destroyed the platform completely, causing the chestnut to fall. But things wouldn't end there because Issei would see some statues in front of him. And he extends his right arm, thus extending his chain, holding on to the arm extending from the statue, and thus he would continue swinging until he could reach the other end. So landing at the end. Issei. Are we out of the circle of lust yet? Virgil would appear and say. Virgil. Let's keep going since we'll be reaching the next circle soon. Issei. And what is the next circle, Virgil? Virgil. The Gula. Chapter 11. On the way to the next circle. Now we see Issei advancing on the paths of hell to go to the next circle of gluttony, while his friend Virgil guides him, and then Issei's brothers appear, and one of them speaks. Hiroko. Nah, brother, before you fell here, how was your life? Issei. Do you mean before or after what is happening? I'm seriously talking about Chestnut. Hiroko. Before what happened? Issei with his same seriousness answers. Issei. At Kuo Academy I used to be famous for my perversion because I used to spy on the girls from the kendo club through a hole in the locker room along with two friends of mine. Hiroko. For her part, she didn't have a poker face because of the answer her younger brother gave her. Issei. But that wasn't all for me. I used to help people in the city who were in trouble. The protagonist continued speaking seriously. Issei. And the truth is I don't care what they thought of me, the same thing happens at the academy, and even though I got into trouble I didn't hurt anyone. Yasuhiro. And you're still a pervert. Issei. Yanilo see. Virgil. Well, I didn't see you fall into the lust of the previous circle. Yasuhiro. And the fact that you finished off the one who ruled the circle by cutting her in half with your scythe. Virgil. And that was trying to seduce you. Issei would only limit himself to listening to what his brother and friend said, wondering if he lost his perversion, or due to the situation he is going through, he thought that it is not the time to start thinking about girls' breasts op ace or something else related to his characteristic perversion. Issei. Let's leave that question for later, we have to keep moving forward. The chestnut quickened his pace, followed by his brothers, who returned to making floating spheres. Elsewhere later. We can see the souls of the Highschooldxd lord still trapped in the sphere being guarded by the three demons, and one of them speaks. Taryn. I think we are underestimating that human. Nathan, why do you say that? Dexter. Don't tell me you're scared of him. I speak in a comical way, the gifted type. Taryn. Not at all an idiot, I say this because I'm done with Cleopatra and Mark Antony. Nathan. What are you saying? Dexter. You've got to be joking, with Judge Minos I thought it was just pure luck. I'm sure it was the same this time too. Minors who those three were arguing about the feat that Issei did when he defeated the ruler of the Circle of Lust, the Highschooldxd lord spoke to each other in a low way. Mickey. Dear, did you hear what they said? Boru. Yes, but they said the Circle of Lust, the place where we passed before. Mickey. And our son left that place defeating its ruler. Boru. Do you think he has overcome his perversion? Mickey. I'm not sure but it's likely. Even though the two older brown-haired boys spoke in a low voice, that didn't stop the super-developed ears of the three demons from hearing them, which bothered them a little. Nathan. If things continue like this then one of us will personally take care of him. Taryn. You can leave that to me, Nathan. Nathan. Are you sure, Taryn? Taryn. Of course, he won't be able to stand up to me and my swords. The devil spoke, making two short green swords appear with chains at the bottom of the handle. With Issei. We can see the chestnut tree continue to advance while still being guided by Virgil. Hiroko. Hey little brother, tell me how it was that you lived in the town where you were. Issei. When Mr. Kichiro offered to help me, letting me stay in his home with his wife so I could recover my memory or just enough to return to Kuo, and as payment I helped him cut down trees. Yasuhiro. And what were you like living in that town while you were recovering? Issei. I could say that it was a bit quiet. I met a few people in the place, I practically got along with whoever I could in that town, I even got to play with some of the children there. Virgil. Do you mind if I ask you a question too? Issei. Of course, go ahead Virgil. Virgil. If you didn't remember anything about yourself, including your name, how did people address you or when did you remember your name? Issei. At first they called me boy, but Mr. Kichiro gave me a temporary name until I remembered my real name. Yasuhiro. Hiroko. Virgil. And what did they call you? Issei. Hiro is the temporary name that was given to me, and when was it that I remembered my real name? Well, one day while helping Mr. Kichiro as always. Flashback. Issei and Kichiro could be seen carrying firewood to take to the village. Kichiro. We have to hurry up Hiro, there is still a lot to do. Issei. I'm Senior Arakawa. The chestnut tree spoke while carrying firewood on its shoulders, but the chestnut tree would fix its gaze on a lake, and in said lake a man and a child could be seen, giving us the impression that perhaps it was a father with his son. But the most curious thing was that you could see what they were fishing with fishing rods, and Issei, seeing this, would put his hand on his head and he falls, dropping the firewood he was carrying, and Kichiro, seeing how Issei runs, dropping the firewood he was carrying and running like that. Kichiro. Hiro Ktiaker. Issei. Mr. Arakawa, I remember something. Kichiro. And what is it? Flashback. NT. If a flashback within another flashback, how crazy, right? Issei could be seen but apparently being a child, and he was in a boat with a brown-haired man sharing the child's kinship, revealing that he is his father Goru. But you could see that they both had life jackets, and they could see that they both had a fishing rod each, and then the boy spoke. Issei. Dad, when will I catch one? Goru. Be patient, son, there is no need to rush. Issei. Okay. But in that case, Issei's rope would be seen to move. Issei. Oh, something's moving, what do I do, dad? Goru. Con calma Issei solo tira con cuidado. Issei would pull the rod with some force and in that crack. Something broke, the rod that Issei had, and when he saw that, he started to cry. Issei. Papa perdun. Goru. It's okay, there's no problem, Issei, so calm down. Issei. But it was your rod and I broke it Gue. Vindel flashback. Now in the present Issei would already be seen somewhat recovered. Kichiro. And what do you remember well? Issei. I remembered my name and it's Issei. Kichiro. Issei, how can I tell you? Issei. No, unfortunately I couldn't remember my last name, but not only that, but I also remembered that I was with someone since I was with someone. Kichiro. And who was it? Issei. My father. Kichiro. And do you remember his name? Issei would shake his head. Kichiro. Okay, something is something, let's go to Dr. Izaki. Issei. Okay, but what about the firewood? Kichiro. That doesn't matter Issei, let's just go. Issei. Está bien. And so the older man and the young brown-haired boy would head to the village clinic. Vindel flashback. Returning with Issei and his brothers and with Virgil. Issei. And that's how I remembered my name. Virgil. I see. Hiroko. You also remembered important things, little brother. Issei. There were few memories that he had since not many were important. Hiroko. I see. Issei. Virgil, how much longer until we go to the next circle? Virgil. It's almost time, Issei, are you ready? Issei. Then let's go. And so Issei would run to hurry as soon as possible. Chapter 12. Issei vs Cerberus. Now we see our protagonist along with Virgil walking through a place where only a cold and dirty rain could be seen falling, and that looked eternal with mud on what would be the ground. Issei. Virgil, is this the third circle? Virgil. No, since we are just about to enter. Ruoir. A loud roar would be heard in the place, and Issei would advance carefully to see where the noise came from, where he would arrive at the edge of a cliff, and below it, he would see the one that caused the roar. And it was a somewhat large bastia that seemed to have 3 heads, and its appearance would be like that of a dog. Issei couldn't believe what he would be seeing and would ask Virgil. Issei. Virgil, what is that thing? Virgil. What you're seeing Issei is Cerberus, the 3-headed dog and guardian of the third circle of hell. And the beast would roar again. Ruoer. And then Issei's brothers would appear and one of them would ask. Yasuhiro? You're not going to face that, are you? Issei. If there is no other way. Hiroko? Are you crazy? Issei. I'm willing to face whatever comes my way. Our chestnut would speak with determination and without fear in his words, and Virgil would speak. Virgil? You will have to be smart when fighting Cerberus. Issei would nod, but he asks Virgil. Issei. But Virgil, why is Cerberus the guardian of the third circle? I thought he was only the guardian of the entrance to the underworld in the Greek pantheon. Virgil. How do you know that Cerberus guards the entrance to the underworld in the realm of Hades? Issei. I'll just tell you that at my school, they taught me some Greek mythology. Virgil. I see, your answer is simple, there are several, that is to say a race. Hiroko. Are there several Cerberus? Virgil. Indeed, my dear Spectre, and the brain that guards the entrance to the underworld of the kingdom of Hades is the king of all the Cerberus that exist. Issei. I see, that explains it. Virgil, and another thing, there are some who have the ability to speak and others do not because they behave in a wild way. Issei. I understand, Virgil, there is something I should know about this dog. Virgil. As I mentioned before, this Cerberus is the guardian of the circle of gluttony, he is dedicated to devouring the condemned, whose sin was the hunger they had in life. Issei would turn to see the Cerberus and he says. Issei. Weren't they satisfied or what? Virgil would advance and stand next to the chestnut and he speaks while observing Cerberus as well. Virgil. You misunderstood me, my friend. In this circle, those who were hungry for power, for conquest or another desire that could not be satisfied fall, and that is why they fall into the circle. Both Issei and his brothers along with Virgil would watch as he devoured the damned miners while others ate what was in that place. Hiroko. What a disgusting punishment this place is. Yasuhiro. I don't deny that, sister. Issei. Well, I think there's no time to waste, so I'll see you later. Virgil, come on, brothers. And at the moment of saying that, Issei jumps from the place to plummet and his brothers would follow him turning into spheres. Virgil. Good luck in your fight, Issei. And this one would disappear to wait for him. And now we would see Issei continue to plummet and he would prepare to land. Falling on his feet, bending his knees and leaving a small crater from the impact of his fall, he determinedly walked slowly to Cerberus. And the giant dog would sniff a chestnut and see him approaching him and he would stop at that, one of the heads speaking, being the central one, with a monstrous voice. Head center, what is a mortal doing in this place? Head right, go back to where you came from. Head left, if you don't want us to devour you. Issei would look at the heads disinterestedly and he would smile and start talking comically and walk from side to side while talking. Issei. Wow, so what Virgil said was true, and I imagine that you are one of those who talk, well, what does it matter? The important thing here is that if you present them at a dog fair, they would give you the prize. Head center, damn mortal, how dare you insult us like that? Bruoire. Issei. Wow, calm down boy, what's wrong? Is that why they don't take you out for a walk? And Issei would start clapping. Issei. Come on, puppy, plaff, plaff, come on, let's play plaff, plaff, let's go. The Cerberus would growl at the action of the chestnut and one of the heads would say. Head right, insolent mortal. Head left, you will regret it. Head center, we will eat your flesh and we will enjoy your bones. Issei would take a big leap back and say the following. Issei. Well, what are you waiting for, little dog? Holding his scythe in his hand, here I am. And so the fight would begin. The three heads of the Cerberus would roar. Issei would prepare himself. This would dodge the attacks of the Cerberus, these being swipes from its left and right claws. Issei would roll 3 times to look for an opportunity to attack, then he would stop and with his scythe he would attack one of the rear legs, being the left one, causing harm to the beast. Cerberus would feel the attack on his left hind leg and he jumps and then turns around to face the chestnut and then runs towards him with the intention of attacking him. Issei would see the dog's intention, so he would start running as best he could to avoid being attacked. He would roll over this attack just in time to avoid being hit. The beast looked half tired and Issei took advantage to go to the right paw to attack. He would give strong attacks and then give quick attacks only to retreat back, preparing his scythe to give the next attack. But that attack that Issei caused the Cerberus, it would give a loud roar in pain, jumping, and would now be standing with 3 legs since the other would be raised. The Cerberus would remain standing while the brown-haired man would close in on him and he would double jump and while in the air would deliver quick attacks with his scythe to the heads due to the range of his scythe and the attacks were strong enough to stun him. Since this would fall. And Issei would take advantage to cut off one of his heads, this being the left one. He would prepare his scythe, making the blade of it spin upwards, looking like a spear. Then he turned it around and dropped his blade, thus decapitating the large left head, causing the dog to roar in pain at losing its left head. This would rise for the second round. Thus Issei would return the blade of his scythe to its original state and prepare again for the second round. And seeing that the dog was far away from him, he decided to use his cross to launch his holy blasts. The dog would receive the damage, and in order to not receive more, it would jump in the direction of the brown-haired boy to be able to crush him. Issei would be able to see the dog's intention again, so he would stop and roll enough to not receive the attack. And after that the dog would turn around to start giving some claw blows again. Issei would manage to dodge them, and again he would return to his rear legs and would give the same attack combo again, but this time on the right paw, and then finish the attack in the following way. By giving such a strong attack, the right leg would remain in the same state as the left. The Cerberus would roar again in pain and, having its two back legs badly damaged, had to hold on with its two front legs, but Issei would see how it didn't move, that the dog would be dying from the pain, so he would attack it again from the front, making the same double jump and giving the same quick attacks, enough for it to fall again. And just like the left head does the same with the right one, decapitating said head. Again the dog would roar in pain, but only the center, since it is the only one left, and this one with its only two legs, would get up with the little strength it had left. Thus giving the third and final round. The Cerberus moved with its two front legs while it was dragging its hind legs. Unable to swipe, he decides to bite the chestnut tree, blocking it with his scythe, and then rolling away from it to attack it with his cross. But before he did it, since he was a slight distance away from the dog, he would not expect that he would throw strange balls from his mouth, but the brown-haired boy would dodge them, and he observed that those balls were damned that he devoured. So this one decides to use his transfusion. Issei. Modo Spectro. And so transformed into his ghost mode. Grabbing the fastest and most agile, so this one at a great speed goes to the dog, giving attacks much faster than the chestnut gave before in its normal base form. The dog could only receive the attack since it was too fast for him, and on top of that, in the state he was in, he couldn't keep up with the pace of the battle. To end the battle, Issei would give the following attack. Thanks to Issei's Spectre mode, with his attack style he could pierce the front legs, and thanks to this attack the dog would fall. Cerberus Central Head. Ag, how I it's possible that you see could defeat me. He speaks between his agony, exhaustion and panting, and Issei responds by undoing his transformation. Issei. What can I say, with effort and determination? Our protagonist responded, but he was also panting from the battle, and he fell down. Cerberus Central Head. Tell me something, mortal, why did you come down here to hell? Issei. There are two souls that do not deserve and belong here, and I am here to save them. The Central Head would be amazed by the bravery of the chestnut, and also that he spoke honestly in his words, being amazed then he says the following. Cerberus Central Head. I've decided. What the Central Head said left the brown-haired boy surprised, as did his brothers in their sphere form, since they only limited themselves to listening to them. Cerberus Central Head. You are worthy of my admiration, therefore take advantage of the power of my spirit, so that you can continue on your way and save those two souls that you say. The dog spoke while Issei stood up again, only to see the Cerberus stand up with the strength he had left, and the Central Head would howl while it illuminated the place, blinding the brown-haired boy with the light it emanated, and without realizing it, the cross on his waist would also shine, but not with the same intensity as the Cerberus did. After a while the light dissipates to the one with the cross. Issei would open his eyes, only to see how a small light that floated and was directed towards Issei, and when he saw said light he would extend his hand. And this light would be taken by the hand of the chestnut pair, then take the following form. Issei held in his hand a triple-barreled, triple-cylinder revolver, adorned with scrollwork patterns, a small dog head in place of the iron sights on each barrel, and a silver chain in the shape of a three-headed dog, with a wing hanging from the end of the grip. Yasuhiro. Wow, that's amazing. Hiroko. What is it, little brother? Issei. It looks like a revolver, but this one has 3 barrels along with 3 drums in it, but… Yasuhiro. But what? Issei. I don't know how it works, since I've seen in video games and movies that they only have a cannon like a cylinder to reload the bullets. Issei spoke with the weapon in his hand, observing from every angle he could see. Hiroko. Do you think Virgil knows how it works? The moment Hiroko mentioned Virgil's name, he made an appearance. Virgil. I'm sorry to disappoint you, my friends, but I don't know how that weapon works. Virgil spoke, surprising the 3 brothers. Issei. Virgilio. Virgilio. Como estas Issei? Issei. Well, you see, I have this weapon in my hands. Virgil would also see the weapon, and he would be the same as the 3 brothers, and Virgil would say. Virgil. Issei, I heard that there was a weapon similar to that one, only it's different from the one you have in your hand, isn't it? Issei. Yes, but as I said, the one I have in my hands is different from the one I know. Issei would continue looking for a way to see the capacity of the revolver, managing to open it in the following way. Both Issei and his brothers and his guide could see that the brown-haired boy had achieved his goal. Issei. Ah, so that's how it was, huh? Virgil. What are you talking about, Issei? Issei. Apparently it will open like a double-barreled shotgun when reloading. Issei would see the chambers of the cylinders, seeing that each cylinder has a total of 6 chambers, implying that they give a total of 18 bullets, and he would see that it would be reloaded in each chamber and then put the barrels back in place. And then demons would appear around him. Yasuhiro. Ah, brother, we have problems. Virgil. They are minions of gluttony, soon Issei you must attack. Issei would only see that he was surrounded, so he decides to do the following. Issei would point his gun at a demon and fire, only to see the demon fall dead due to the sheer power of the weapon, as Issei had aimed at its head, only to see the demon's head, so to speak, explode. Issei would be amazed and he decides to aim at another one, but this time he does not decide to aim at the head, but rather he just aims and shoots, hitting him in the torso, also leaving the same result. So Issei kept shooting at the demons that were there, giving a total of 6 demons, and when he would shoot again nothing would happen, implying that he ran out of ammunition. Issei. Oh, I think I got too excited. Hiroko. Why do you say that? Issei. I ran out of ammunition, having his scythe in his hands, but this time with the double blade, I guess I'll have to do what I do best. And Issei would be fighting for a while and evading one or another attack to then see that there were no more left. Issei. I think that was all, we have to move on. Issei spoke to see his weapon, and he would tilt his barrels and cylinders at an angle to see that he actually ran out of bullets, and he would remove the casings to empty the chambers. Issei. What was missing, and now what do I do? The chestnut spoke in his thoughts, but he would see how one of the cylinder chambers would have a slight shine. This would amaze Issei, only to see how a bullet appears, the same thing appears in another chamber, and he would observe carefully. Issei's brothers would see him asking what their younger brother is doing, the same would go to Virgil, and he would approach the brown-haired boy and ask. Virgil. What are you doing, Issei? Issei for his part would not pay attention to Virgil because of how concentrated he was, and he says. Issei. I think I know how this weapon works, Virgil. Virgil. Really? Issei. Yes, and it seems that this revolver can fire 3 bullets at a time through its 3 barrels, and when it has no more bullets it reloads itself, only it reloads 1 bullet per minute, that is, a bullet is automatically reloaded when a minute passes, and as this has a capacity of 18 bullets, it would take 18 minutes for it to be reloaded. Issei spoke with a flick of his wrist, placing the cannons in place, and Virgil and Issei's brothers would be amazed by Issei's deduction. Yasuhiro. But the question is, how does it recharge itself? Issei. About that, I would only come to 2 conclusions, the first would be the weapon itself. Virgil. And what is the second? Virgil would ask and be answered by the chestnut tree. Issei. It's the magic that you gave me, Virgil, the one that allowed me to have the ability to use magic. Virgil. Your conclusions are interesting, one of them may be. Issei. I also decided to name this weapon Cerberus. Virgil. It's understandable since you defeated a Cerberus, so it would make sense, don't you think? Hiroko. That's true. Yasuhiro. There is no reason to deny it. Issei. Well, we have to move forward since there is no time to lose. I speak Issei to walk where the Cerberus guarded the entrance. And Issei would only see a landscape made of living organs, a violent storm, mud, piles of human waste and giant worms with insatiable appetites. Issei. Virgil, is this the circle of gluttony? Virgil. That's right, and as I mentioned before, this circle is made up of those who are punished by the excesses of food, drink and addictions in the world above, as well as their hunger for power, conquest or other desire that they could not satisfy, and they sought more and more. Issei. Well then let's go. Issei would run around the place while the dirty rain fell on him, but this noble would care and continue through the place. As Issei advanced, the place could be seen full of condemned waste eating said waste, while they would be devoured by giant worms. And another side. We can see the 3 demons along with the brown-haired boy's parents still locked in the sphere, and one of them would speak. Dexter. Guys, there's trouble. Nathan. And now what? Theron. What's going on, Dexter? Dexter. Defeated him. Theron. What are you talking about? Dexter. That their son defeated the Cerberus. Nathan. What do you say? Theron. You've got to be kidding me, how the hell that weak human could defeat that giant beast? Both demons and the chestnut's parents would be surprised, and one of them speaks. Theron. Nathan, I'll go kill him myself now. Dexter. I'm going too. Nathan. Stop right there, Dexter, Theron will go with him, that's more than enough. Mickey. Please don't hurt my son. Nathan. You shut up. Nikki would be scared and her husband would just hug her. He would look at them with resentment while his wife would be distressed. Terran. It won't take long, since I don't think he can handle a fight with me. And so Terran would address our protagonist. What awaits Issei? They believe that it can also overcome the circle of gluttony. We will go see the fight between Issei and Terran. Chapter 13. Gluttony. Previously our protagonist had faced Cerberus, the guardian who guarded the entrance to the third circle of hell, gluttony. Before moving forward, just look at the view of the circle and see how rain was falling. And this waste of time begins to advance on its journey walking along a path made of rotten and decomposed flesh. This would continue and continue to advance, while the condemned could be seen eating the meat of the place, without having a hint of their appetite being satisfied, they ate and ate what they had as if they were animals. And our protagonist would only limit himself to moving forward until suddenly from the dream of the circle would emerge what seemed to be a giant worm that was about to devour the chestnut, but before it was swallowed, it would save itself, and by using strength with its arms and legs, would avoid being eaten by the worm. Issei would take force and take his Cerberus revolver and fire a shot, and said shot would kill the worm instantly. Issei. What the hell was that? Virgil. A gluttonous worm. Yasuhiro. And what does it do? Virgil. There are many of these around here, so be careful as sometimes they tend to attack by surprise, as they like to eat the damned that are around here. Issei. I'll keep that in mind. Issei would continue on his way while Virgil would disappear again. Issei would continue on his way being followed by his brothers being floating spheres and then seeing giant teeth. Leaving the chestnut missing, he would go around the teeth only to see a hole, and in that hole there is a column. Of the condemned, he would come down, releasing himself from the column of the condemned, and just before he fell to the ground, a gluttonous worm appeared to try to devour the protagonist, but he would do the same thing as with the first worm and would eliminate him with Cerberus. Then Issei would see that he would be in a room. And in this room he would be surrounded by minions of hell, these minions being minions of gluttony, and it could also be seen that 3 worms appear. Issei would take his cross to start launching his holy blasts, stunning his enemies, and then using his magic, extending his arm with his open hand and compressed air with electricity, would begin to come out of it, attracting the gluttonous minions so that it then explodes and throws said minions into the air and then takes his side and gives quick attacks to eliminate them. Then Issei would use his ice magic on the enemies that were on the ground, eliminating them and causing damage to the ice fragments that remained on the ground, and these would explode and some impacts would hit some worms, and then see Issei with his Cerberus revolver pointing at a worm and would shoot twice at the 3 worms, killing them once and for all, and then he would tilt his weapon to remove the bullet casings, and with his twist of the wrist, he would put his barrels back in place. Yasuhiro. Wow brother, you have become very strong. Hiroko. It's true, it didn't take you long. Issei. The stronger I am, the faster I can save our parents and find a way to revive them. Hiroko. What if you couldn't? Issei. Well, I want to keep believing that there is a way to do it. The brothers spoke and then Issei continued on his way to the next circle. He would continue on his way seeing only rotten meat, filth, the condemned eating that rotten meat and filth. Likewise, several enemies would appear to try to eliminate the brown-haired boy, but they would be the ones who would be eliminated. Issei would continue to advance, and in that Virgil would make an appearance. Issei. Virgilio. Virgil. Young Issei, we are close to leaving the circle and going to the next one. Issei. Where Virgil, guide me. Virgil extending his arm with a finger pointing to what appeared to be an exit. Virgil. Follow your path to get there, but be careful, more enemies await you, especially one in particular. Issei. What would that enemy be? Virgil. The glutton is the soul that has been transformed into living incarnations of its fat with jaws for hands, mouths drooping on their necks. Issei. Are you telling me that they were condemned and their souls were transformed into what you just said? Virgil. You are right. Issei. Understood Virgil, thanks for the warning. And without further ado Issei would continue on his way until he reached a new room. And from the ground would emerge gluttonous minions, guardian demons, gluttonous worms and a new enemy. Issei. Could that be the glutton? Issei spoke in his thoughts, but then he would see how the glutton would begin to vomit and the brown-haired boy would roll to one side to see that the vomit was a very strong acid. Issei would prepare to attack and say the following. Issei. Alright, let's finish this quickly. Use the ice magic path of righteousness. And do as much damage as possible and then do the next thing. Issei would prepare to make what would be a turn, and in doing so what looked like a tornado would appear. And said tornado would be Issei's new attack, and it would be the magic of the storm of lust. The small tornado would attract the gluttonous minions and guardian demons, and then see Issei use his cross and launch his holy gusts in everything around that he could. The gluttonous minions would be eliminated, the guardian demons were still there, but they would be weak. Issei would take his scythe to then see what the double blade would have, and with this, he would begin to give his attacks with it, and thus he would eliminate the guardian demons and the gluttonous worms, and he would see that only the glutton remained. The glutton would not waste time and would vomit his acid again. Issei would roll to dodge the acid. Issei would attack with his scythe, but suddenly he would be caught by the glutton's jaws, and he would raise him to his height, only to see that Issei with his two legs kicked his face, and the glutton would instantly release Issei. Well, he did a backflip. Issei would move away a little, and he takes his Cerberus revolver to aim, while the glutton ran towards him with the same intention of capturing him again, but before doing that he would receive the 3 shots from the Cerberus cannon, and he would fall only to see this one that from its rear extremities would expel fecal material that would also have the same effect as its vomit. Issei dodges in time and seeing the glutton on the ground he would get up again, so Issei extends his cross absolving the condemned glutton, giving him eternal rest. Issei. Sigh, what a fight I just gave. Hiroko. Are you tired, little brother? Issei. A little, but we have to keep moving forward. Issei spoke to continue and enter what looked like a portal, and upon doing so he would be in a kind of room, but this one would be different from the other. Issei would limit himself to observing, but having his guard up for a possible attack, but then applause would be heard. Plop 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 plop. And Issei would look around for someone who was giving such applause, only to see someone he recognized and would take his side. Issei. You. It was Terran who was doing the applause and he says. Terran. Wow, who would have said that you reached the circle of gluttony, but unfortunately you got this far. Issei. I'll give you 2 options, either you tell me where my parents are, or I'll kill you here and let the damned eat what's left of your corpse. Terran. Ha 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 ha, do you really think your threats scare me? You know what, I was just going to kill you and that's it, but I think I'll have fun hearing your screams. And in his hands would appear some short green swords being hooked with chains on the hilt of these, and the chains would be wound around Terran's arms. Terran. You better be prepared. Issei would not be intimidated by Terran, and he took an attack stance with his scythe in hand and said. Issei. You will regret having been my enemy. Issei. Terran. Aye. They would both scream and then run towards each other. Chapter 14. Issei vs Terran and Unleashed Fury Mode. At this moment Issei and Terran only saw each other face to face, and only to see how both of them run between them to see who would give the first forward attack. Just to see Issei's scythe blade bend into the shape of a spear and then see it block Terran's 2 swords with the handle ferret while they applied pressure to see who would break said pressure and have an opening to attack. None of them could achieve their objective, so they retreated, and in that Terran would be spinning his swords while the ends of these rubbed on the ground. Terran. Oh wow. I didn't expect that, I thought this would be too easy. He would speak confidently, but then he would change his way of speaking to a serious one and say the following. Terran. No, for nothing you could kill King Minos, Cleopatra and her lover Mark Antony, and you even killed Cerberus. Issei. Rest assured that you and your friends will also be part of that list. Terran. Ha 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 ha, your words are so insignificant that it won't change the fact that I defeated you. Issei. Laugh all you want, idiot, but rest assured that your miserable existence as the demon that you are will end in this place where you belong. Terran. Then let's stop talking and start fighting. Terran would start to throw some sword blows from a distance thanks to his chains, and Issei would be about to block those he could with his scythe. Then he starts to roll and uses his cross to launch some holy blasts. Terran would receive some, stunning him a little. Issei would not waste time and would start attacking with his scythe. First it was a spinning attack. To then give a combo of continuous attacks. Terran would be launched into the air at the end of the attack, but things would not end there as minion demons would begin to appear in the area. Terran. Well, maybe a little company wouldn't hurt. Issei. I already said that my moments of benefits would end when fighting one-on-one with that bastard, but what matters now, no matter how many of those demons appear, I will kill them. And so Issei would begin his attacks again using his scythe on the minions and evading Terran's swords being thrown at a distance by his chains, and he would attack by spinning with his swords. But Issei would manage to block some with his scythe and then take advantage of the opening opportunities to attack so that some of his scythe blows would be done. And he would attack the minions with the magic he possessed, such as the Path of Righteousness or the electric air attacks, such as the electric compressed air sphere or his electric aerial whirlwind, and even some of those attacks affected Terran. After a while of fighting, Terran would take distance and then take his swords by their handles, only to use one of them, and he would use it to launch a slash in the air towards Issei, causing a cut in the air to come out of the slash, destroying the ground. Issei, seeing that, would do a side somersault evading the attack. Issei. What the hell was that? If he hadn't dodged that in time, he would have died at that moment. How did he do it? Terran. Surprised, right? I'll tell you one thing, these swords have the ability to cut through the air because they are very sharp. And he would again launch aerial cuts in the direction of the chestnut tree horizontally, vertically and diagonally, while he spent his time dodging the cuts. Issei seeing that Terran kept throwing cuts, and it didn't help him to have to evade the minions of hell. But then he would receive an attack from one of them, and then from another and another, until Terran arrived to attack him, kicking him in the chest, throwing him into the air. But in that Issei would be wrapped around the chains of Terran's swords, and he would start to spin him around and around, until he crashed into a wall. But the thing would not end yet, since Issei still being wrapped around the chains, Terran would continue to stamp him against another wall, and then continue seeing Issei wrapped around, and Terran would lift him into the air, and then make Issei fall. Crashing into the ground. Terran with a movement unwinds the chains from Issei's body, and he slowly walks to where the brown-haired boy is, while he still has a lot of damage to his body, and gets up only to receive another kick, but this time in his face, crashing again into a wall. Terran. Ha 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 ha, I don't know what happened, you didn't say that me and my companions would also be on your dead list, ha 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 ha. Seriously, this is the boy who defeated Judge Minos, Cleopatra, along with Mark Antony and Cerberus. I was expecting a good fight with you, what a disappointment. But I don't understand that Naruto Uzumaki said that you were dead since, according to him and Ryuza-sama's entourage, you were easy to kill. But what Terran didn't know was that Issei was listening to everything he said, and upon hearing Naruto's and Rya's names, his anger was slowly boiling over. Terran. Above all, what he said about your parents, that they are garbage for giving birth to you, that you are just a mistake in this world, that you don't deserve any rights to anything. While Terran continued talking, Issei was already boiling with rage at what he was hearing, so much so that the chain of daggers that he had attached to his right arm throughout his journey in hell was reacting to his fury so much that it caught fire and would slightly raise Issei, while some leftovers emerged from him and would envelop his entire body while he would be observed by Terran. Terran. Hey, what the hell is going on? But what? What the bucking shit is going on? Why am I starting to shake? What the hell is wrong with me? Could it be his doing? Terran would ask himself mentally without understanding why he was shaking, while he could only watch Issei being enveloped by a strange shadow around his body. Just to see Issei in a new way. Changing his appearance, but this time different from his specter mode, since this appearance was released by his chain of daggers when the anger of the brown-haired man that he had inside him reacted, being this his new form, unleashed fury. Issei. 2. Issei spoke with a sinister voice due to his transformation, scaring Terran in the process. Issei. Repeat again what that Naruto guy said about my parents. Issei spoke as his chain of daggers stretched out, at which point several minions would appear to attack, and Issei would also prepare to attack. Thanks to his chain being on fire that managed to do the most damage possible, the minions fell in an easy way. The minions, seeing this, decided to attack all together, and Issei, seeing that, decided to spin his chain of daggers around him. All the minions were eliminated and seen by Terran, so he did not waste time and would launch aerial cuts again, being dodged by Issei. Already fed up with Terran's attack, he decided to launch his chain of daggers towards him. Issei. Get over here, come here. Issei hooks Terran and pulls him towards himself while he was being attracted to him. When Issei sees that Terran is getting close enough, he kicks him in the face, sending him into the air, but it wouldn't end there. Issei uses the chain again and hooks it to one of Terran's feet, trapping him and stamping him on the ground, causing great damage to him. Terran would instantly get up to throw his swords, giving his ranged attacks. Issei would dodge and repel the attacks, and when he repelled Terran's ranged attacks, he took advantage of his opportunity to attack with his chain, and thanks to the fact that it was on fire, the damage he received was double. The fight continued up to this point, as Terran is now seen with cuts and burns on his body, being fatigued and tired. While Issei was slowly returning to his original form but also tired by his transformation that he acquired. Terran. Damn human, I don't want to lose to you. At that moment Terran threw one of his swords, being the right sword. Issei would dodge it by jumping while he was spinning in the air. You could see in slow motion that he extends his hand in control of the sword, taking it, but then throws it in the direction of Terran. Terran, seeing that Issei threw his right sword, throws the left sword to repel the attack, but what he did not know is that Issei, upon landing, decided to throw a holy blast from his cross, stunning Terran. And seeing his swords in the air, he makes a great leap to take them and holding on to the chains that were hooked to the hilt of these, and Issei again lands and would begin to spin the swords at high speed, and he runs towards Terran to then see which Issei would use them, and at that moment. Slash. Issei had cut off Terran's arms and then given a spinning kick, launching him into the air, but in that, the chains of Terran's swords began to wrap around the chestnut's waist, implying that Issei had acquired the jade swords. In that case, infernal minions and guardian demons would begin to appear. Issei, seeing them and seeing that he acquired the jade swords, would decide to use them. And so he would begin to give ranged attacks thanks to the chains spinning around him to cause the most damage possible until he joins the chains of the two swords and would begin to spin looking like a tornado, throwing the enemies into the air and falling dead. Issei would grab a minion and then hook him with one of the swords and then spin him through the air hitting several enemies, while the attack that Issei gave with the minion would eliminate both him and those who were affected by the attack. And that Issei would use his sphere of electric air, attracting the demons that could affect the attack, while at the end it would explode throwing everyone into the air, thus eliminating everyone. Once finished with his enemies, Issei walked slowly towards Terran while he was alone agonizing from the pain he felt, and when he heard the brown-haired man's steps, he would see that he would go to him, and he would begin to panic. Fear paralyzed his mind, he told him to run away, but his body wouldn't respond, and there was the brown-haired boy looking from the ground, giving him a cold look so much that the very air that surrounded them felt cold. Issei. Terran, right. The chestnut spoke while the aforementioned would not say a single word, since terror possessed him. Issei. I want answers, and you will tell me first question, where do they take the souls of my parents, and why are they here in hell? If they have never done anything to anyone. Terran. We were just following orders to bring them here and take them to the last circle of hell. Issei. Who gave you the order, was it that Isseih's Lucifer? Terran nods his head. Issei. And that Isseih's must have some relation to Ria's Gremory since she is his sister because Isseih's, before being Lucifer, was called Gremory, right? Terran would just be silent. Issei. I see, tell me something else, does Naruto Uzumaki have something to do with this referring to the kidnapping of my parents' souls and bringing them here? Since you claim to know something. Terran. I only knew about him and what he said along with Ria-sama's entourage. Issei. I see before you asked why I'm still alive, right? I can answer that question for you, you see Naruto with the entourage of Ria's Gremory t-shirts, if they killed me, but what you didn't know is that I faced and fought against death for my life, and when I talk about death, I don't mean metaphorically, nor rhetorically, nor poetically and theoretically and in no other elegant way. I face death without a mask, ending it, and the proof of that is the scythe that I carry with me. Thus invoking his scythe being seen by Terran. Issei. You faced a human who defeated death, who descended into hell to save the souls of my parents, facing demons from the different circles of hell, ending with Judge Minos, Queen Cleopatra, along with her lover Mark Antony, who defeated the guardian Cerberus, and now a demon kidnapper of the souls of my parents. Terran no longer knew what to do, he knew that his end was near, so he had no choice but to humiliate himself and beg for his life. Terran. Wait please. Terran could not continue what Hiba was going to say since Issei cut off Terran's head by crossing his two swords in the air, and said head would fly through the air, spilling the blood that it carried, and thus would fall to the ground while he would be surrounding, thus ending Terran's life. Issei would see Terran's body now without arms and head, not feeling any remorse for what he did, in that Virgil would make an appearance. Virgil. Ready to continue on your path Issei. Issei. Yes Virgil, there won't be any interruptions for the moment. Virgil. Then let's not waste time, follow me. And so Issei and Virgil would continue their course through the circles of hell. Meanwhile elsewhere. Now we would see Dexter and Nathan still holding the souls of the Haidu lords prisoner until they would stop their steps because they felt something disturbing. Dexter. Nathan, is it me, or I don't feel Terran's aura anymore? Nathan. No, you're not the only one, in fact I don't feel it anywhere anymore, it's as if the… Dexter. Don't tell me Terran. Nathan. Indeed, he must have died at the hands of… Dexter. Of their son. Pointing at the Haidu lords, and one of them would ask a question, this being Mickey Haidu. Mickey. Excuse me gentlemen, but what are you talking about? Nathan. You're talking about how his own son ended Terran's life. Such an answer would leave the Haidu lord stunned. Or maybe he killed him since one of you went to end my son's life and he had no choice but to do so. Dexter. Keep silence miserable soul. Nathan. Dexter, shut up. Nathan would yell at Dexter for the ruckus he was causing and would speak again. Nathan. Our mistake was underestimating the son of these two, so we have to prepare ourselves, do you understand? Dexter. Yes Nathan, I understood. Nathan. Well, walking. Thus the two would continue their journey, while the Haidu lords would continue to worry about their son. Or Mickey. Issei Tenku Dado Hiho. Filler Chapter. My Days in the Village Part 1. Narration. Some of you may have been wondering what Issei's time in the village was like, well here's a little story. It was a normal day with perfect sunshine, and we can see Issei who was playing soccer with the children of the town. It must be said that he was against all of them, then one of the children made a pass to another child, and he kicked the ball hard. The kick he made caused the ball to go out of the field and hit a girl who apparently was carrying a bag. Tika. Ah. The children panicked when they saw that they were in trouble, especially the one who kicked. Child 1. I'm already in trouble there. Issei. Calm down, I'll go see, the rest of you stay here, okay? Children. Okay, Mr. Hero Issei. I would go help the girl and see if she was okay. Issei. Excuse me, are you okay? Are you not hurt? Offering his hand to lift the. Yes, I am, don't worry, I'm fine, I haven't been hurt. Accepting the boy's hand to get up, and then the boy who kicked the ball would appear in front of both of them. Child. This lady, I apologize for the ball, I didn't mean to hurt you. Don't worry, little one, but be more careful next time. Issei. Please let me help you with these bags to your house. That's fine, thanks. Issei. Kazama, go with the others and tell them that I will help the young lady to accompany her home according to your wishes. Issei would address the child, who we now know his name was Kazama. Kazama. It's okay, hero. So leaving the place to go to the court to continue playing. Then that Issei would take one of the bags and then see that the other one was held by the girl. Issei. Please let me carry the 2 bags for you. It's not okay, I can. Issei. Poor favor, insisto. Oh well, that's fine, you can take this bag, I'll take the other one, what do you think? Issei. It's okay as long as it helps. So the 2 of them started walking. Kasumi. By the way, my name is Kasumi Tendo. Issei. A pleasure. Kasumi. And yours is Hiro, isn't it? Issei. Well, not really. Kasumi. What's that, I don't understand. Issei. You see, I had an accident a few weeks ago, and said accident caused me to lose my memory and forget all my personal information, such as my full name and where I come from or live. Kasumi. Oh, I see, what a tragedy. Issei. Well, for now my name is Hiro, but it's only temporary until I remember my real name. Kasumi. I understand, well, it's a pleasure, Hiro. Issei. And mine too, Kasumi, can I know if you are from around here, because this is the first time I see you in this small town. Kasumi. Well, my family and I came here to relax since my younger sister's school, along with a girl who lives with us, is under repair because it was flooded because the drainage system broke down, so to speak. Issei. Who, no one was hurt, not even your sisters, thank goodness no one was hurt or injured. Issei. How nice, and by the way, is that girl you mentioned a friend of yours or someone close to you? Kasumi. Well, history is a bit complicated to say. Issei. Really? But that friend of yours, she's okay, right? Kasumi. If she's okay. Issei. Well, that's good. Kasumi. And tell me how your recovery of your memories is going, Hiro-san. Issei. Well, it's a slow process, but it's safe according to the village doctor. Kasumi. Seriously, what do you remember so far? Issei. I've been here for at least 2 weeks and still nothing. Kasumi. How sad. Issei. Yeah, well, I try hard every day just to remember something. Kasumi. And tell me, what do you normally do on a daily basis? Issei. Well, I helped Mr. Arakawa cut down some trees to get firewood and give it to the village, even to Mrs. Arakawa with the housework. Kasumi. May I ask who they are? Issei. Some noble elders who helped me and gave me lodging in their home so I could recover my memories. Kasumi. Oh my, what kind people? Issei. And they are, that's why I help those 2 people as much as I can. Both chestnuts would continue talking for a long time. Issei would tell his days in the village, while Kasumi would tell him who her sisters are until Kasumi says. Kasumi. Oh, we're here, Hiro. Issei. Is this where you live? Kasumi. For the moment, since as I told you before the accident that happened at my younger sister's school, my father took advantage of this moment to be able to be here so we can relax and be calm. Issei. So like that, well, it's good you know that. Kasumi. Do you want to come in so we can drop off the bags? Issei. Oh, of course. Both would enter the girl's home towards the kitchen but would meet someone. Oh, Kasumi, you're back. Kasumi. Oh, hello Akane, did you finish training? It would be Akane Tendo, the youngest sister of the Tendos. Akane. Who is the boy with you? That's when Issei shows up. Issei. Hi, I'm Hiro and this is my temporary name. Akane. What do you mean by that, how weird? That's weird. Kasumi. Hola Nabiki. Another girl would appear, this being the middle sister Nabiki Tendo. Nabiki. And this boy you brought with you, sister. And that Issei would show up again, this time with Nabiki. Issei. Hi, I'm Hiro, and the reason why I have this temporary name is because I lost my memories when I woke up in this place. Nabiki. Really? Akane. Really? Kasumi. Unfortunately that is the case, from what he told me about his situation. Issei. And that's how it is, and I've been 3 weeks without remembering anything. Bacane and Nabiki, knowing the situation our chestnut was going through, would not know what to say. Bacane. Wow, I'm so sorry about what you're going through. Nabiki. If we can help, we will gladly do so. Issei. Thanks to both of you and don't worry, sooner or later I'll come to remember something about my life, I just have to be patient. Kasumi. Well said Hiro, it's better to go slowly than quickly right, hey Akane and Ranko. Akane. Ranko is entering the forest. Kasumi. Seriously, where is dad? Nabiki. He said he was going to visit an old friend of his in the village. Issei. Well I think I'm going, I don't want to bother you. Kasumi. Don't you want to stay for some tea? Issei. Maybe another day, I have to go with Mr. Arakawa, so I'll see you another day. Issei would begin to climb being followed by the three sisters to accompany him. Once he reached the door and left, he would not expect to see Kichiro on the street along with two more people. Issei. Senior Arakawa. Kasumi Nabiki Akane Hola Papa. Sound. Hello daughters. I would answer being the father of the three Sound Tendo sisters. Sound. Slow, my delay is because I met someone I know. Kichiro. I see that your daughters have grown quite well, Sound. I'm also you know. A red-headed girl with a braid in her hair would answer. Kasumi. Hello Ranko. Ranko. Hi girls, Hi, who are you? Ranko would speak to Issei, but when he saw him he looked paralyzed as if he were in a stunned state. Kichiro realized that Issei was in the Tendo house and seeing the state he was in, he would go to him. Kichiro. Boy, you're here, what's wrong? Sound. Mr. Kichiro, do you know him? Kichiro. Of course you don't remember that I take care of a young man who lost his memory a few months ago. Sound. Then him. Kichiro. Yes, but now. Issei. You can't be her, no og. Issei would fall to the ground kneeling while holding his head with one of his hands and the other on the ground as it was starting to hurt as he was starting to remember something. Being nothing more and nothing less than the day of her attack, since Ranko's red hair reminded her of another girl's. Being Ria's and her entourage along with the Uzumaki. Sound. Mr. Kichiro, let's take the boy inside my house. He said it while helping him hold the brown-haired boy. The girls, seeing the panic, didn't know what to do, but then we saw how both Sound and Kichiro would take Issei inside the house. The two older ones would take the girl to the living room to lie down, while we would see Issei breathing heavily just to see how he began to calm down. Girls like this were Kasumi hurriedly bringing a glass of water and Issei would drink it hurriedly while he would choke a little from drinking it a little too quickly and he would cough a little. Kichiro. Whoa, what is it? Issei already calmed down a little, while those present will only pay attention. Issei. I remembered the day when I was attacked, when pointing his finger at Ranko I saw her. Ranko. Me. But why? Issei. Your red hair reminded me of someone, and not only that, she wasn't alone, but with others, being a group of 4 girls along with a boy, I don't remember more, but something tells me it was them. Kichiro. Just that and nothing more. Issei. Unfortunately that's all. Nabiki. Hey Ranko, do you happen to have a sister or a relative with the same hair color as you? Ranko. Of course not, the only person who would have my natural red hair color would be my mother. Akane. Maybe Hiro must have been bullied and that red-haired girl must have dyed her hair. Nabiki. Maybe it should have been that. Kasumi. Poor Hiro. Sound. These kids nowadays think that bullying other people for no reason is disgusting. Kichiro. Maybe, but we have no clues about the boy's school or private life, but that's all we have boy, tomorrow we'll go see Dr. Izaki and tell him what you remembered, do you think? Issei. If it's what's best for me, then so be it. Kichiro. Can you walk to leave? Issei. Yes, I can, Mr. Arakawa. Kichiro. Okay, Sound, we'll talk another day, the boy and I will go to my house. Sound. If you like, I can accompany you. Issei. Don't worry Mr. Tendo, I'll be fine tomorrow, I'll go see Dr. Izaki. And that both Issei and the old man Kichiro left the Tendo house, well they would only see them leave the place. Chapter 15. A talk to the next circle. We can see Issei and Virgil advancing through the paths of hell, both were silent until Issei asks Virgil the following. Issei. Virgil, what is the next circle of hell? Virgil. Our next journey through these 9 circles of hell is greed. Issei. Yuvio. But before he could continue asking, Issei would be interrupted by one of his brothers. Yasuhiro. Hey little brother, can I ask you something? Issei. Millimeters. So of course ask me what you have to say Nai-san. Yasuhiro. Were you already that strong? Issei. What do you mean? Yasuhiro. Well, I'm talking about the way you face our enemies. Issei. Ah, now I understand what you mean, and well to be honest at first I wasn't. Hiroko. Really? Issei. What's more, when I faced death for the first time, at first I didn't know how to attack, and when I got the spear that fell from the sky, images came to my mind of how to use it, how to attack, and as you know, at the beginning my fight against death was hard, since they were basic attacks with that spear, and then I could weaken it enough. I threw the spear at it and eliminated it with its eye, which is now mine. Hiroko. Oh, I see, is the same thing happening with swords? Issei. Terran's jade swords. You could say that when I took them other images came to my mind of how I could use them to give attacks. Virgil. Can I also join you in asking questions, young Issei? Issei. Of course Virgil, I have no problem. Virgil. The same applies to magic, that is, images come to your mind, so you know how to use them. Issei. You could say yes, since when you offered me the magic that you gave me, images also came to my mind of how I can use it, even how to name the magic. Virgil. Ah yeah. And tell me, how did you name the magic I gave you? Issei. Path of Righteousness. Virgil. Curious, what about the one you got in the Circle of Lust? Issei. Stormy Cutting Vortex, the other Stormy Crushing Tornado. Virgil. I see. Hiroko. Hey little brother, can I ask you something else? Issei. Sin problema ni-san. Hiroko. How do you feel when you transform? Issei. Well, when I transformed into Spectre mode, I felt the same as I am, although the disadvantage was that I got a little tired when the transformation effect ended, but when I transformed into Unleashed Fury mode, my body slowly consumed me. Yasuhiro. What do you mean? Issei. I'm talking about how said transformation, so to speak, consumed my vitality and my strength, since I felt like it hurt me, to the point that when I detransformed I almost fell to the ground because of that. Hiroko. Well, I think it's a very dangerous transformation. Issei. Dangerous and powerful at the same time since you saw how he finished off the minions of hell. Yasuhiro. It's true, and that transformation is thanks to the chain of daggers. Tell me, can you use it like you used it in your Unleashed Fury mode transformation? Issei. I tried it a while ago and no, I couldn't use it like when I used it in the transformation. Can I use it to hook myself to swing like I did the previous times? Yasuhiro. I see. Hiroko. Hey little brother, what happened to the scythe now that you have those swords? Issei. For some reason it is stored in a space that I do not know. Virgil. That space can be called a pocket dimension. Issei. Pocket dimension. Virgil. That's right, and it's a magic that is often used by some species in the supernatural world, whether they are demons, angels, Asgardians or Olympians. Issei. Ah, so my things are in that pocket dimension, like my side. Virgil. Exactly. Issei. And how can I get it out? It's more like I created that pocket dimension since at no time did I get to do it, since I didn't know that spell existed so to speak. Virgil. What are you saying, you didn't make the pocket dimension? Issei. Aja. Virgilio. How interesting, but well for now we'll talk about that later, so I'll focus on telling you how you should take out the weapons. Issei. Está bien. Virgil. Use your imagination of how you want to summon your side, try with that. Issei would listen to Virgil, so he just stops his step to see that he closes his eyes, and with a movement of his hands, he summons his scythe in his hands, but in that we would see that his swords that he had on his back disappear. Issei. Wow, that really worked. Yasuhiro. But your swords disappeared. Hiroko. They are probably stored in our brother's pocket dimension. At that point Issei would use his imagination again, and his jade swords would appear from his hands. And while he was speaking he placed his swords on his back and said. Issei. Well, at least I can change weapons to the environment that favors me in being able to use them, so for now I will use the jade swords to get some experience in being able to use them better. Hiroko. But why would you do that? Issei. Why do I have enough experience with the scythe? Issei said as he began to continue his walk. Yasuhiro. That would make sense, and bro, are the cross and your Cerberus revolver in the pocket dimension too? Issei. I have both weapons on my waist along with the sword chains. Both brothers visualized their side at the waist of their younger brother, and indeed there he had them. Yasuhiro. Well, it's true. Issei. Virgil, why don't you tell me about yourself? I'd like to know something about you. Virgil. My name is Publius Virgil Maro, was the son of a plebeian. I was once a master. I was also a Roman poet. Issei. Eras Romano y Poda. Virgil. From ancient Rome, when I lived under the government of Caesar Augustus, in those times I lived among liars, false gods and deceivers. I lived before the birth of Christ, although I also predicted his coming in my works. I was also known by many, along with other poets such as Homer. I was also the author of a single book, the Aeneid, and when I died several years ago, I earned a place in limbo for having been born before the arrival of Christ. Essay. Wow, Virgil, you have lived a normal life without any problems. Virgil. I know, but I did not tell you everything about limbo. In limbo there is no punishment, as I mentioned before, since they're full those who were not baptized, and we pay for it virtuously. In that circle, there are only sighs of despair for not being enlightened by the Creator and deprived of the vision of the highest. Yasuhiro. Wow, how boring it is to spend an eternity in that circle. Virgil. And so it is, young Yasuhiro, since Homer, Plato, Caesar and Horace are there, as are others as well. Essay. Plato, the famous philosopher of ancient Greek. Virgil. Exactly. Essay. Okay, wait a minute, Plato is Greek, he shouldn't be, as they say in Greece, in the underworld or rather in Hades. Virgil. How do you know about that? Essay. In my school, history class still mostly we study more Japanese history than other cultures. Virgil. That makes sense, and answering your question about why Plato is in limbo and not the underworld is because each realm of eternal punishment is somehow connected, meaning like the biblical hell, the Greek underworld, the Helheim of the Norse pantheon, and like other cultures like the Aztecs, Egyptians, and Shinto, clearly ruled by their respective kings. And when humans mortals die, those who judge souls take it upon themselves to see where they should go no matter what. Essay. Ah, I see, but by the way, Virgil, I've been wondering who rules the 9 circles of hell until now. Virgil. Nobody, since as you know Lucifer, the ancient king of the 9 circles of hell, died in the holy war of the 3 factions, but is guarded by the god Hades, king of the underworld. Essay. And what about the other gods who rule their realms of eternal punishment? They also watch over the 9 circles. Virgil. Some, but well, look, we are almost reaching the circle of greed. Essay. Then let's hurry up. And so our protagonist would start running as fast as he could. What awaits our beloved protagonist in the circle of greed? Well, that will be discovered in the next chapter. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.